tell everybody just generally what we got going on here. How much power are we working with?
20 to 25 horsepower.
Fully electric.
15,000 watts.
Watch this shit. Oh my God.
Alright, so I got the FW11 installed last night, and I just wanted to share my thoughts on it. Initially, I noticed before I even installed it that the phase wires were bigger than the Kr5v that I've been running, and I will mention I've been very happy with that motor. I had no issues with the Kr5v, and I was running it at 200 battery amps and 450 phase amps. As you can see by how bald my tires are, I am definitely enjoying the FW11. And so I would have done this sooner, but I had trouble getting the motor mounted because I was actually trying to have the option of always going back to the Kr5v. I wanted to have kind of a dual mounting setup. And I kept getting these cradles in that I thought might work, and unfortunately the actual FW11 ones were sold out. So I eventually just decided to, I mean, I'm talking these holes are drilled right on the edge of that motor plate. So the feet are actually wider, spaced on the FW11 versus the Kr5v. So what I have now is I was able to mount the FW11 in the same rear holes as the Kr5v used, but since it's wider, I had to do a second set of holes, and I'm talking they are right on the edge of that motor plate. So I may eventually, when I feel like building another motor plate, I may build one a little bit wider that allows the two hole pattern for both motors. But for now, this is working great. I got everything dialed in. It's working well. So my impressions of this motor so far, this is gonna be completely non-scientific because I don't have a dyno. I'm just gonna tell you what it feels like to me. I have a few things that make it fairly easy for me to compare the two as far as torque, especially off the line. What I will say is the Socian is making a little more torque off the line versus the Kr5v. And this comparison is being done on the same cart, same gearing, same rider, same controller, same battery. The only thing I did was swap the motor, run an auto learn, and switch motor direction because the Socian was spinning the wrong way. So this is literally just auto-tuned with the same exact settings, even the same field weakening, everything I left the same. All I did was run an auto-tune. I will say it has a little more torque off the line. I would guess 10 to 15% more torque off the line versus the Kr5v, and I'm talking with the same power, so I guess it is a little more efficient. From a roll, I'm guessing 5 to 10% more power through the power band. I believe this motor is able to pull a little more power just because it has larger phase wires. I am noticing it gets hot just as fast as my Kr5v, if not faster. It gets hot very quickly. I've already had it up to like 75 degrees Celsius and I wasn't even trying. I'm just ripping, you know, going fast. I have had a high RPM cutoff a couple times. I'm gonna try to address and figure that out. I did have my RPM limit set at 12,000 RPMs, just hoping that I would never hit an actual rev limiter, that it would just rev out until it runs out of steam effectively. And it was hitting up to about 11,000 RPMs. I'm guessing maybe there was like a motor desync because I just had my motor cut off twice. I would come to a stop and it would immediately was able to roll again. I didn't have to turn anything off, turn it back on. I literally just came to a stop and it was ready to go again. But it felt like the motor and the controller might have desynced. I may try another auto tune and just see if maybe something was a little off. What I did so far was I lowered my RPMs, my max RPMs from 12,000 to 11,000, and it did not desync again after I did that. So I think that may have fixed it, but I'm gonna test it more to find out. Let's see. So, I'm going to tell you what I do like more about this motor, and I'm going to tell you what I like more about the Kr5v. What I like more about this motor is the larger phase wires, and it apparently can handle larger amounts of power than the Kr5v. My setup is maxed out at 200 battery amps and 450 phase amps, so I can't tell you whether that's true or not. I do believe it, because looking at the phase wires, they're just more beefy on this Ocean motor. You can tell the phase wires are just bigger. You know, that is a fairly big difference. So I do like that the phase wires are larger. I'm guessing there's more copper in this Ocean motor. I am noticing more power. What I'm not liking so far about this Ocean motor, and what I'm going to tell you is, this is right off the bat. I haven't had a chance to do any adjustments or figure out anything. So this could be something to do with the tune, the auto tune. Who knows? It is a little jittery at high RPMs. So it, like with my Kr5v at 10,000 RPMs, it was smooth. You could sit there and cruise at 60 mile, 55, 60 miles per hour, and there's no jitters. I'm getting a jitter with this Ocean motor. You can even see it on, I recorded my dashboard here, and you could see the kilowatt, the watt meter just bouncing around. So I don't know what's going on with this Ocean motor, but it is very jittery at high RPMs if you're just trying to maintain one speed. Even if you're at full throttle, it's just like jittery through the high RPMs. So I don't know if there's something wrong with my my Hall sensor, or if just the auto tune didn't work well, but it just has that high RPM jitter, and I'm going to try to get that fixed. Another thing that I'm not crazy about with this motor that I think they did better with on the Kr5v is the actual hole size. So this runs these little 6mm screws to mount it, and it just feels too small. My Kr5v runs 8mm, and it just feels beefy. It feels just seems like a better way to go with the kind of power you can run through these motors. It just seems like it would make more sense to me to run 8mm hardware. This 6mm is holding it down fine. I just ran these spacers through the lathe to get them just the right height for my chain tension that I wanted, or my chain slack I wanted. But that is my only complaint, is the jitters I have so far, which I'm not blaming on the motor. That could be the tune, that could be the auto tune, that could be something about my setup. I don't know, but I know I did not have any jitters or shakes like I'm getting now with the Kr5v. So I may try running another auto tune and see if I can fix that. So yeah, that's basically it. I mean, the Kr5v has more beefy, larger holes, threaded holes for mounting. So I think the mounts on the Kr5v are stronger. I think the mounts on the Kr5v are better. So yeah, I am gonna stick with this Ocean for now. I'm gonna hope I can get it tuned right, because if I can't get rid of those jitters, I may have to put the Kr5v back on. But yeah, this motor is giving me more torque off the line. That is the biggest thing I noticed. The tires just spin more off the line. I mean, on dry pavement, it is breaking the tires loose in a straight line. I don't even have to turn to break them loose. I can literally in a straight line break and peel tires. I mean, this motor has absolutely finished off these tires. They had a little bit of tread yesterday before I put this motor on, and it's just spinning the tires. So there is more power. But yeah, the high RPM thing is kind of a bummer. I really hope that I can get that fixed or figured out, get that dialed in. But yeah, so those are my impressions. Motor definitely gets hotter. It seems like this motor is even getting hotter than my Kr5v did, but I guess that's kind of part of the design. And so yeah, I'm hoping I can figure out how to tune the jitters out. I don't know if maybe mine just has a bad Hall sensor. I tried to see if it would throw any kind of codes or errors in the far driver, and it did not. But yeah, if I see another motor cut out, I will certainly take a look at the dashboard. I didn't have the dashboard up when that happened. And we'll also see if just lowering the max RPM to 11,000 will fix it. But yeah, this thing starts to get kind of jitters around like 9 or 10,000 RPMs. It just feels like it's surging, I guess I would call it. Maybe surging is a better word than jitters, but it feels like it's just kind of surging back and forth at high RPMs, which I have mine. This is geared very short, so I spend a lot of time at high RPMs. All right, well, that is it. Let me know what you guys think. Maybe this will help someone decide that's considering the motors. I understand that you can technically run a little bit higher power through them, but I'm running 200 battery amps, 450 phase amps through both motors. So I'm doing a direct comparison of that power level. I'm sure it's possible. Maybe you could run 220 battery amps and 500 phase amps through this Ocean, maybe. Maybe that's the case, and maybe the Kr5v just can't handle that. Maybe it'll burn the windings right away. I don't know. The Kr5v has done very well running 450 phase amps, 200 battery amps. It's done it well for months now with no issues whatsoever. So that's just my impressions of it. Let me know what you guys think. I am going to try to stick with this motor. I certainly hope I can. I am enjoying that little bump in power. Would I say it's worth the extra $100? I mean, if you're scraping together money to buy these motors, I would say no. If that $100 is a big deal, I would say go with the Kr5v. There's nothing wrong with that motor, especially at these power levels. It's doing well for me. All right, guys, let me know what you think.